I'm Lars. I live in Laramie. I teach printmaking at the UW. You go to the first slide. Printmaking is a kind of big process of art. If you're not sure or haven't heard of it, you have a block or a plate or a lithographic stone like this, and you can pull a print off of that stone, and then you can pull another print and another print, another print, another print. So printmaking as a big category is working in the multiple and making multiples. And I make a lot of different kinds of prints. These are some based on where I've lived and themes around those things. And I've also, in the last year, just made a lot of ice cream cones. It's just a funny form to explore to me. You do a lot of things, but I also work. The other thing I like about printmaking, it can be collaborative, it's performative, it's process-based. Some things you see a lot that kind of put printmaking in the public space is like steamroller printing. So this is a photo of some steamroller printing I did with some friends some years ago. And so while making a lot of prints, a big part of my practice is also doing interactive or installation or kind of in more engaging projects that use printmaking because of that ability to create the multiple. So in graduate school, has anybody been to Texas or know what a burger is? It's a fast food restaurant that is just the pride of Texas. It also started in Corpus Christi, Texas, where I went to graduate school. And so I created this art cart, food cart called Whatever, taking their logo, manipulating it, and then I would push it around Art Walk, and people would come up to me. Children would run up to me and be like, chicken strips. And people would come up to me and be like, what is this? And I would just say, it's whatever. And they'd be like, but is it food? And I was like, no, it's just whatever. And it was, they'd be like, well, it's whatever. It's $1. It's whatever. So you could see the menu on my cart. Everything's $1. I sold 500 of these little burger boxes with little prints in them just by saying it's whatever, it's whatever. And finally they got so frustrated they would give me $1. And it was just kind of a way to take artwork out of the gallery, engage it with the community. At least in this community, the art walk was more of a craft fair and food truck walk. So getting people a little bit more engaged and involved. So I kind of do a project like this every year or so. This is a piece where I created a voting booth. It was for a kind of politically themed show in 2016, but you can see there's two candidates in here. They're kind of the opposite, but also they're kind of the same. And people would choose their ballot. Again, those are screen printed images of the candidates. They'd pick their chosen candidate and put it in the ballot box, and then it would shred the prints, and then they would get a voting sticker, because why else do you vote except for getting a voting sticker? I got maybe like a couple hundred people to do that voting thing, and I made them all fill out a voter registration form, which is pretty funny. Some people actually maybe put their social security number on it. This piece that I didn't have to interact with as much, or so I thought. I made this for a show in a museum in Texas, because I had this vending machine that took quarters, and so I was making change, because we all want art to create art that makes change, right? And so I kind of collagraph printed 2 dimes and a nickel, put in a quarter, you get 2 dimes and a nickel. The problem was, it was really popular. It took me about 3 minutes to make each print. So essentially I was like paying myself $4 an hour to print these little things. And then the art museum kept emailing me and being like, it's empty again, you have to make more. And I just have to spend all day just wiping ink onto coins and pressing it on paper. More recently, for a conference I made, you guys know what pull tabs are? It's like a type of lottery ticket. They're in the middle there. They're like this, they're 1 inch by 2 inches, and they're also called snappers, and you peel them back. If you get 3 icons in a row, it's like definitely a bar bar game sort of scratch-off thing in Wisconsin, where I'm from. And I think they're really funny, and the graphics are really funny. So I made giant ones for a conference, and we gave them out to students. And I had some prizes for people who won them, but it was kind of it's like a linocut printed on both sides, and then they used a laser engraver to make these pieces peel back. And then you can see, like in that loser ticket right there. But in this case, it was thinking about the context of the people you're interacting with. This is like a printmaking conference, trying to find ways to like engage other people attending that conference with each other, and it was kind of an icebreaker thing on the first night. It was a fun, interactive piece. Yeah, and then most recently, last fall, I made this woodcut bicycle, which is like a whole bicycle made out of plywood that then I carved and printed all the components of it. So you can see, I kind of sketched it out, and for the gears, I used a CNC machine to route out the gears and just kind of figured out what would work, some trial and error, and then carved all the pieces at least on one side and printed them and had them. And then at this conference last fall, I brought it there and just made people ride it around. And then I used the prints as prizes for the fastest times. But it was like, I can think with all these things, there's a big learning curve with how the public is going to interact with the thing. And no matter what you think of, they're going to do, kind of like Matthias is saying, whatever you think they're going to do, they're going to do something else, or something's going to go way left or totally haywire. I didn't account for the fact that people don't necessarily know how to ride a bike that has a fixed gear. So if you stop pedaling, the bike stops moving, right? There's no coasting to this bike, so people would just like tip over. And I tried to make it a universal-ish size, but it was a little short for me, but it was still like getting people on there, and it needed to be lifted up. So I ended up basically holding the bike most times and trying to keep people upright. But the guy who won the grand prize is this guy, Dusty. He's like the full professor of printmaking at Syracuse University. And he was a cyclist. He shredded that thing in like 20 seconds. He rode the whole block, and it took other people. Most people didn't finish the course, but yeah, there I go. Yeah, I think like all of those, projects are ways of creating engagement, or creating ways for people to interact with things and engage with it and kind of understand what printmaking is in different ways and that sort of thing. So I can write it.